Global Mafia, what's the deal? What we on? Today, I got another compilation of non-mainstream TikToks, non-mainstream theories that the news is not going to show you. We're going to disassociate from that indoctrination the system tried to give us our whole life and get to our independent journalism and get that real information and knowledge. It's a community that is growing. Shout out to all the new Global Mafia members. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we're going to figure it all out. Let's get
Cash
to the
Global
truth.
TV subscribe.
Context.
Good morning, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just Palm Beach Pete. I'm so not Jeffrey Epstein. Hey, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete. I'm Palm Beach Pete. It's Palm Beach Pete. Nothing to do with Jeff Epstein. But as Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Epstein. I'm just Palm Beach Pete. Totally not Jeffrey Epstein. He's dead.
There's no way this is real, right? I saw your twin last night. My heart almost jumped out of my chest when I saw him. The likeness is unbelievable. He was hugging and kissing another man in the street. Must be the same man that one of your friends saw. Oh my God. He put out a video confirming it. This is Palm Beach Pete. Some photos of me in the 90s. Okay, let's see it. Man. Man.
Good morning, everybody. Palm Beach Pete from sunny Florida. Not a cloud in the sky. I'm off to play some tennis. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete. I want to thank all my followers. This thing has gone crazy viral. Over 100,000 plus followers in less than 2 days. Have a great day. Enjoy life.
Like, they're just putting it in front. I'm not Epstein, I promise. Oh my fucking God. New profile. Guys, there's no way this is... I feel like it's total bullshit, but it's really fucking funny. The fact that he's actually in the Epstein files. And he said that he was at a party that Epstein was at.
Back in the day, when I was living in the city, I went to a couple of parties and Epstein was there at a party. And he was kind of creepy, just sitting on a couch, staying to himself. And he wasn't the magnitude that he is.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say.
Palm Beach Pete in the building. How you doing? How you doing?
Pete is doing just great. This whole thing is a phenomenal. I'm driving down I-95, minding my own business, and some knucklehead films me as perpetrating one.
At this point, I'm convinced Palmdale Peach is a part of the theater. He was a part of the plan before it all even started. He was going to be in this mix, in this position, no matter what. He's a placed piece in here.
What is going on here, guys? Did you see that? You see what just walked by the window? Shh, don't even say it. Something's going on, guys, with this new Kanye West video. I'm telling you right now, bro. This is the black horse, guys. The black horse. You see it. Astronauts. Why? Something's going on here, guys. No way. They're saying that he's an alien. This is what they're saying. Astronaut, aliens, outer space, the ocean. Don't say it. I don't know what the hell is going on, bro. No way. Travis, you too, mother. Shh. Shut up! I knew it. I knew something was up with Travis this whole time. It's not a game. Who are these people? Ah! Who are these people? First thing first, who's that behind Kanye West? Who is that behind Kanye West? Because people are saying that's the fake Michael Jackson. And why would they put him in this video? The black horse, the black horse. Do I really have to say what's going on here, guys? Something's going on and you know what's going on. I don't know why the hell they got astronauts to come pick up Kanye West. You know why? Because he belongs in outer space. He's an alien. Shut up! That's what people are saying, guys. Something's going on with this new Kanye West video, bro. It's very strange, straight up. Is Travis trying to tell us he's an alien? Why would you be wearing an alien mask, bro? What is going on in this video and who directed it? Because I don't want none of this around me, B. Straight up. Look at Michael in the back, bro. What are they trying to tell us, guys? What are they trying to tell us? That Michael's an alien too? Shut up! Something is going on here, guys, and I don't know nothing about it. Come on, we all know this ain't the real Kanye West. Nah, I'm just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. This is just the new Kanye West video. This is art. This is the culture. This is what it's all about. Aliens, astronauts, and black horses. I don't know, guys.
And family should have never let this leak because we've now discovered what they've been hiding for 20 years. Have you ever noticed that every time a man gets involved with a Kardashian, he ends up in a bad place? Even though there have been many, and we've forgotten most of them, they all seem to fall apart. Just think about Kanye West. He's the perfect example. And don't forget the transformation of the mother, who went from this to this. I still can't believe it. Then there's all the symbolism. For example, in this image, people found a hidden message formed by the way their arms are positioned. There was also Kendall Jenner, who made the mistake of posting one of her tattoos, which looks exactly like Baphomet on her finger. We've also seen the one-eye symbolism with Khloe. And then there are these photos where all the Kardashian sisters are doing the same pose, hiding even more meaning. The strangest thing about this family is a rumor that has been circulating for years, claiming that Kim channels certain deceased celebrities. The proof people point to is that moment when she receives a lock of Marilyn Monroe's hair.
Okay, this is either really cool or a little strange, but that's who you're doing business with, right? So,
what is this?
that was Marilyn's hair. So.
Calm her.
That's all.
Calm her.
That's all.
Oh my god, I'm literally going to do some crazy voodoo shit that I wait. Going to do some crazy voodoo shit that I wait. And I channel her.
We also shouldn't forget that in American Horror Story, she literally played a Hollywood witch trying to take Emma Roberts' baby to gain fame, almost as if reality was being hidden inside fiction. Watch this clip.
He's 3/4 me. I mean, we used to have to use magic to make our creatures. The IVF produces miracles these days.
You're a monster.
Oh no, babe. I'm so much worse.
Kris Jenner is a shrewd businessman, and when she said she was playing with that voodoo and was going to channel Marilyn Monroe, there was no laughing, there was no joking. She was 1,005% serious. It was also the same family on national TV who prepared a placenta for dinner and shared it amongst the whole family at the table. Pay attention.
For a while, but I just found this out that's like 100% confirmed to be true. Did you know that NASA has one of the largest film sets in the world on its property? That they claim, like, I don't even know what their claims are, but they got a massive film studio at the NASA center. Now, this is the same NASA, which allegedly sent a bunch of guys to the moon, all of which get violent and angry when asked to swear on a Bible that they went to the moon. Which is a very odd reaction. I don't know if you've seen Buzz Aldrin, all these guys. Will you swear on a Bible? No, get the hell out of here. It turns into a big kerfuffle. Now, we have videos and images of the sun now with people with powerful cameras. We got the CGI images of the sun given by NASA, which, by the way, you can Google. Does NASA use CGI? I'll show you the result. Yes, NASA uses CGI, but primarily to illustrate concepts and events that cannot be filmed and for public outreach. So how are they going to use CGI to describe or illustrate, rather, a concept to you, but how do they know what the concept is or looks like that they're trying to CGI in the first place if they cannot film or take a picture of it? Now, to be clear, it says here, it is not used to fake actual photos or videos, of course, but it's presenting photos and videos that are computer-generated images. Illustrating inaccessible events, NASA uses CGI to visualize mission timelines, spacecraft deployments, or events that are impossible to record with a camera, such as the landing of a rover on Mars. They're getting billions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars per day to do space stuff. Are you comfortable with them wasting money to CGI the landing of a rover on Mars, as if that's like important to the findings of what is allegedly going to be found on Mars? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
What's going to happen to this country when they find out she is a he and they have been lied to all of their lives? How do you think people are going to handle this one? Yes, she is a he, and not just any he. Oh my God, what do you think people are going to say when they find out that that's literally the light bringer, the light bearer? Lucy herself? That's Lucy. You know, fur. If you go and look in like the 1800s, there's a painting called Satan and His Legion. Okay, you can take that painting laid over her. The faces and the body are identical. You can go a little farther back and there is a statue of Lucifer, like way farther back, where he has like wings and he's got a chain around his foot and he's got an apple at his feet and he's holding a crown with 7 points. She's in the Big Apple. That's why 666 Fifth Avenue is in the Big Apple. Are we seeing it here? Now, what do you think is going to happen when the American people find out that's Lucy? You know, fur. You know what I'm saying. What do you think is going to happen? Yeah, our entire reality is ran by Satan, y'all. And that's coming from someone who was raised atheist. Dude, they did everything they could to hide the truth from you. But God warned us of the apocalypse, which we are in. And apocalypse does not mean destruction of the earth, which, mind you, the meek inherit. No, it means the destruction of a belief system because what has been buried is being revealed. Like the fact that that's Lucy. Third. Like, identical. And if you don't believe me, I mean, I just posted a video last night responding to a comment that said, no, it's not Lucy, showing you exactly it. So if you're that curious, you'll go to my page right below this video and you'll find it. You'll see it. You'll see the Statue of Liberty. You can't miss it. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you'll realize, now do me a favor, share this to your brothers and sisters because I want them to know.
Erica Kirk suing me over a video I posted, me in all white, walking in with fireworks, hitting a double take, that half cry, half smile, talking like those political wife speeches, and now it's too far. Now, let's keep it real. You forgave the man who killed your husband, but you taking me to court, say it again, you forgave a killer, but you're suing a comedian for a video. That's crazy. And don't lie on me. I ain't joke about no tragedy. I didn't touch that. I joked about what everybody sees, the outfit, the voice, the way y'all get on stage and talk, that's public. That's what y'all put out. I just copied it. Now it's a problem. So what comedy got to be safe now? Comedy got to ask permission or just not be accurate. Because last time I checked, impressions, parody, all that, that's free speech. That's the whole point. But now it's crossing the line because it hit too close. So be real.
If that wasn't AI and that was really Drewski, if Erica Kirk thinks she has a leg to stand on to sue him for his First Amendment, she crazy as hell, and he never mentioned her name. So if the shoe fit where, obviously she felt the shoe fit real well.
The plane crash in New York at LaGuardia Airport, an Air Canada Express, crashed when it hit an emergency vehicle during landing. When this story first came out, there were a couple of different versions that it just somehow hit the ground. But we know now that the plane did hit some type of an emergency vehicle, and both the pilot and the co-pilot have passed away. And we've got some pictures of the plane right after it happened. Here you can see what the front of the plane looks. It was completely crushed, caved in. Passengers managed to get off the plane. Like I said, as of now, only 2 people have passed away, the pilot and the co-pilot. Here's another picture of the front of the plane. That looks devastating. According to some reports, an air traffic controller said he made a mistake. I don't know what that mistake was. It's not really clear, but maybe having the plane land on a runway where there was a vehicle present. In any case, there was a plane crash last night in New York at LaGuardia Airport, and at least 2 people passed away, the pilot and the co-pilot of this Air Canada flight. Okay, I just wanted to share that info.
Holy cow, the TSA lines at airports right now are insane. If I had to wait 3 hours to get into the airport, I am 100% canceling my flight. So why the heck is this happening in airports all over the United States? Well, if you didn't know, we're actually in a partial government shutdown right now that started in mid-February, and it has to do with the Department of Homeland Security. Congress couldn't agree on funding, and TSA workers are considered essential workers. So right now, they're not getting paid. And this past week marks their first paycheck that they missed. So the ones that are working right now are not getting paid. So pretty much everyone is quitting. So that brings us to the million-dollar question. When the heck are they going to get funded again? Well, nobody knows, but if you look at the prediction markets on Kalshi, there's about a 50% chance that this ends before April comes. Problem is, this is continually getting worse. At some airports, there's only about a 10% call-out rate with TSA workers, but at some there's up to 40%, and across the whole country, 300 TSA workers have quit. And if you look at this video, I mean, just pay attention to the line. It literally goes outside the door. I have never seen that in my entire life. And not to mention, spring break is happening right now, so there's another surge with that. So if you're about to travel, just prepare depending on what airport you're at. But I'm genuinely curious if anyone here has traveled recently, what was your experience at the TSA line? Because some of these lines are just insane.
Genuinely curious too, is this just propaganda to make people not want to fly? Or is the backfire from TSA not getting paid really affecting the travel situation? And why is it that the people who have nothing to do with the decisions getting made always are the people that are affected the most? Let's be logical here. How long can you sustain to put these high gas prices in your vehicle or pay the public transportation and get to your job site if you're not getting an income? That doesn't make sense. Businessman, you know that. Owner of the business knows that.
Military budgeting mistake like this? Well, the modern American military was built during the Cold War, a period of time where few actual conflicts between nations happened. So instead, they spent their entire budgets on scare tactics, basically the military equivalent of looks-maxing, building the most visually impressive and intimidating technology to scare the other side from attacking, as they did with the Soviet Union for decades. As a result, the American military costs a lot of money and isn't exactly value efficient. This practice continued and is part of the reason the US has the highest military budget in the world. The more money they spend, the more powerful they appear, and the more money they can take from American taxpayers into the hands of government officials and defense contractors. That would be the military-industrial complex in a nutshell, and may in fact be the cause of their downfall. As invincible as a global superpower may feel at any point in time, you need to understand that every empire in history eventually falls, which is essentially guaranteed to happen again. According to John Glubb's 250-year rule, the average modern empire collapses after about 250 years of dominance, which the US&A just happens to be celebrating this July 4th in 2026, 250 years. And they almost always fall to an underdog, not a superior or even an equivalent. The mighty Persian Empire, which ironically is rooted in Iran, was defeated by the tiny Sparta, just like in the movie 300. This happens a lot throughout history, where smaller tribes band together to defeat an empire. And the reason this happens is actually very predictable and rooted in facts. Empires are huge. They have millions of people, which inherently makes them treat them as more expendable. Also makes people lazier due to diffusion of responsibility among the masses. The bystander effect at scale. Many people create factionalism, like Democrats versus Republicans, and people within the country end up fighting against themselves. Empires are also economic powerhouses, generating virtually infinite wealth from around the world, and are leaders in science and technology. And I think we've all learned that over-reliance on cutting-edge technology makes people even lazier, i.e. ChatGPT and AI. Great wealth causes sloppy spending, and the dependencies on multiple economies around the world also makes it easier to fracture their systems. Smaller tribes may not have the sheer manpower, but they also don't have any of these problems either. Less people means each person takes more responsibility and are more motivated. Less wealth means you need to get crafty with your spending and tactics, developing innovative military strategy. It's just easier to unite a smaller group, especially with a catalyst such as a religious leader under a faith that reveres martyrdom. When you have one side that's too comfortable to really care or want any involvement in this conflict, and another side who is literally a matter of life and well, that's a recipe for an overthrow. Now, the disturbing part is that high-ranking US generals are now telling troops that this war is for Armageddon, i.e. the second coming of Jesus. Over 30 military installations across the US have reported similar messaging, with even Peter Hegseth, the US Secretary of Defense, backing this claim to speed up Jesus' return. Here's an email from a soldier saying their commander is literally telling them this is all part of God's divine plan, referencing the book of Revelation and the imminent return of Jesus Christ, saying that Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. Now, whether this actually is the second coming or not isn't for me or any human for that matter to decide. Literally, only God knows when it will happen. So it seems like these generals are trying to weaponize the idea of Christ's return to fight against the will of the Shia, making this a full-blown holy war by trying to force the second coming of Christ onto the will of the military, but I don't think that's how it works. Now, in the end, the United States really has only three options here: retreat, ground troops, or the N-word. If they retreat, they look weak, and they'd never let that happen. If it's ground troops, we're back in another years-long war, which is going to cost a lot of money, a lot of lives, and they're probably eventually just going to back out of anyway. Or they go nuclear, for the first time since Pearl Harbor in 1945, which today would be the end of the world as we know it, so it's unlikely. That is, until confirmed reports started coming out that the US has moved the E-6B Mercury plane to the Middle East, known as the Doomsday Plane, the one that sends the signal to nuclear subs to, well, fire some missiles. Search it up yourself, E-6B Mercury movement, and you can see that they deployed it into the Persian Gulf on March 4th, 2026 for the first time in history. So who knows what's gonna happen next.
Video, we get a new development. What y'all think? How far are we about to take this WAR? Is it gonna be another Iraqi situation and we're gonna be looking at 10 years on the clock? What's the deal? Them to use a version of jihad, using religion in war, that's brazy.
Kanye West was trying to warn people of certain things in the industry. Well, this right here is his daughter. his daughter that, by the way, he's not allowed to even go near. And of course, you saw the compass right here beside me. Later, you'll see a cross where this compass was, so you really understand what they mean right there. So you really understand what they mean by this cross, because all these celebrities wear these crosses, but it's not really for the reason you think. It's crazy when you think about it, because he did say that something was going to happen to him, and that the one that we see now wouldn't be the actual original one. Not like he was the first person that's ever supposedly happened to. And now they're using his daughter to continue polluting the youth because him and other people decided to stop. When you make a deal with the devil, you will lose, even if you change your mind afterwards. By the way, wasn't he like one of the only rappers that wasn't really involved with the island guy in those files? I think that's kind of weird.
So a near million-acre fire has been burning through Nebraska, if you didn't know, literally the size of Island, and I've been noticing zero media coverage on it. Every camera, every reporter, every headline is pointed at the Middle East. Fire is approaching 1 million acres, one of the largest in U.S. history. And I just want you to think about this when considering this fire being in Nebraska, okay? Before we get to that, I just want you to think about this. Massive wildfires in Nebraska are threatening to slow efforts to rebuild the U.S. cattle herd as key grazing land in one of the nation's top beef-producing states has been destroyed. Fires fueled by high winds have burned roughly 775,000 acres of pasture, removing a critical feed source for tens of thousands of cattle, according to state officials. Loss of grassland is expected to delay herd expansion plans, even as producers have been encouraged by historically strong cattle prices. You see where I'm going here? Now think about this. Nebraska just so happens to sit on top of the Ogallala Aquifer, which just so happens to be the largest underground water source in America. Ogallala supplies 30% of all irrigation water used in U.S. agriculture. Now think about this. While oil prices go up, fertilizer costs skyrocket. If shipping is interrupted, then grain exports also stall. This is happening during the biggest geopolitical crisis in 50 years. And you really think it's a coincidence?
Allegedly, this is the real Palm Beach Pete. So who is this new guy that is apparently playing the role of Palm Beach Pete that looks very similar to Jeffrey? I don't know, something weird is going on, because there's no way this is the same guy as the other guy. Again, this situation is very bizarre. It's very, very strange. Everything surrounding this situation with Palm Beach Pete and how he looks like Jeff and how the original Palm Beach Pete doesn't even look like this guy. And what else is weird is the other Palm Beach Pete hasn't even posted since a year ago, and then he stopped posting. So what is going on?
Glowing UFOs were seen tracking Iranian missiles, right? It's a little bit weird. Check this footage out, and I'll dive into it a bit more in just a second.
What's that?
President Biden's remarks, I think it was less about what he didn't say than what he did say. What he didn't say was restraint. Again, raising the specter or the possibility that we may be looking at a more significant escalation, possibly in the form of a that so many have been speculating in these last couple of weeks, troop and military hardware movement at the same.
Now, when I initially looked at this footage, I thought that this may be a pixel of some sort, kind of caught on the lens and it was tracking, but the guy filming the TV was actively tracking this object, okay? And there's a part here that you'll just see, as it flies, it reflects off this cloud. Look, and it glows. Boom, right there, where it's kind of come close into some sort of cloud or mist cover. And it's actively reflecting, and it kind of suggests that this is a solid object. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the World War II Foo Fighters. If you guys don't know what they are, it's a strange UFO phenomenon that happened around that time period of World War II. Go look it up, it's pretty incredible. But Iran's got some strange stuff going on again.
So have we finally figured out how Bigfoot is getting around? We found out that Ross Coulter, who is a journalist who's been examining how the U.S. has been stating there's been portals all over the national park system and been hiding it for decades. It's possible that back in 1919, when Woodrow Wilson made the national park system, that he maybe had talked to Bigfoot or Sasquatch and said, hey, this is how we're traveling. But they're finding out that there's many portals in these areas. Ross Coulter also stated, don't go looking for them because you may end up getting in trouble. There's armed military around these things and it's dangerous. But he stated from a high up source that people are walking through walls in the national park system. So this could be how Bigfoot's getting around. If you look at the map of the 411 missing individuals and the Bigfoot sightings map, look how close they are. Maybe people are disappearing into the same exact portals that Bigfoot is actually using to transport and teleport around America.
This is a new concept and theory to me. It's the second time I heard that. We went over it a couple compilations ago. It's actually starting to make a little sense. Maybe the people are walking through portals. It's still hard for me to conceptualize realistically going through a portal, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it. What y'all think about that?
Well, there's 4 lights. Look like it's 1 craft or 4 crafts. That's there. It's above the mountain. Good ways above the mountain too. You can see the mountain below. Very up. That's San Bernardino. No, it's not San Bernardino. I'm sorry. That is mountains. Which would be Pasadena.
Our differences as people shouldn't be enough to keep us divided. I mean, there's exceptions to that rule. Some people are just way out there and think some crazy stuff or do some nasty stuff. But overall, just having differences of opinion shouldn't keep us as divided as we currently are. But that's what the elites and what I call the powers to be want. That's the plan, to keep us divided. Because that way, enough of us won't ask the questions that need to be answered. The questions that all of us really want answered, but we won't because we're too busy fighting with each other or arguing with each other. Think of it. Almost the whole public wanted answers about the Island Man, whose name I can't even mention on social media, where rich, famous, and powerful people went to his island and did some really nasty stuff. But the politicians weren't going to release that information until people basically got together and demanded it. Even then, we didn't get everything. We did get access to millions of emails, but a lot of it's blacked out. You can't see who's talking to who or who's talking about what. Things like that is the reason why I think the powers to be want to keep us separated. Because if we come together as people and we demand answers, they kind of lose their power. Okay, this is just my opinion, and I felt like saying it today.
Kid who's communicating it, what I say, it's a 99% versus the 1. We got to come and go. Everything else is just divisive and steering us away from getting close to the spirituality divide, figuring that out, pouring all our energy into ourselves and focusing on ascension.
Read you an email from the Epstein files that talks about Epstein paying for this modeling contest that procures thousands of women, but for nefarious purposes. There's not a lot known about Ramsey Iamqueheff. All I was able to find is that he plays in a band called Monotronic that was formed in New York City. On the Monotronic website, it says he is an anthropologist, musician, and producer. He's also extremely problematic. The email reads, they basically scour the country and tons of girls show up. That's how they discover most of the top Brazilian models that made it big in New York. They are saying they have 50% of the cash from advertisers, so basically you can have the contest for $250,000. This would involve having access to all the girls, which you can decide what to do with. It's rare that the winner of these contests goes on to make it big. It's usually another overlooked girl, which is why I like this. For you, I mean. You can basically fly these girls to wherever in the US. There's a Brazilian agency that does the US visas, or Paris or Caribbean. So why is this problematic? It involves more access to vulnerable women. I don't know if this actually ever came to fruition or stayed in plot within emails. However, there are hundreds of emails between Epstein and Iamqueheff, and they are all really gross and have a lot to do with Iamqueheff actively recruiting girls for Epstein. I go down rabbit holes so you don't have to.
We just don't know enough. What we do know is the timing was interesting. It followed very closely the promise made by President Trump on Truth Social just a few weeks ago that he was going to move to declassify UAP files and any evidence of extraterrestrial engagement with this planet. And it's very interesting because we know from leaked emails that were ironically leaked by the Russian GRU to WikiLeaks in about 2017, 2018. 2018, we know that John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager at the time, was having conversations by email and in conference calls with General Neil McCasland, General Michael Carey from Space Command, and Richard Weiss from Lockheed Martin Skunk Works to discuss what appears to have been a plan by Hillary Clinton as a prospective new president to be a disclosure.
Hey, bud, let's chat about your childlike sense of wonder. You see, this family has fun.
This was nice.
Fruit roll-ups, you better be playing.
They want you to think that this is just a snack from July 2025. But look at the pattern. This isn't a new idea. I saw someone else mention this. Look at this album cover from 1980. The exact same red, distorted face. Coincidence? Now look at this. Total face coverage in red lace. It's been right in front of us, hidden in plain sight. But it goes even deeper into the circles of the untouchable. Oh, and what have we got here? Only Ellen wearing the same red splatter print on her hoodie. The same one that people have been talking about for years.
Seen everybody from the Jigga Man, Jay-Z had that Basquiat painting on their shirt as well. But I've just recently found out, do your research and homework on Frazzle Drip, entertainment purposes only, has something to do with Hillary Clinton. They asked her about it in a deposition and they had to go off record. She got off. The rabbit holes get deep, y'all. We got a long way to go. We're on this journey together.
Had a T in it?
I feel like
I remember when I was a kid, seeing a T in the word Skechers.
Right behind the C.
I know they do this stuff all the time to mess with us, but didn't Skechers have a T? Comment below if this is true or
weird.
not. I need to know.
Design these psyops very skillfully. And the way they construct these different psyops is in a way where if you figure out the actual truth and attempt to tell people, then you're going to come across as either the enemy or supporting the wrong side, or people are just going to think you're crazy. Basically, if you figure out the truth and you try to tell people, then those people aren't going to think that you're trustworthy. And they're going to think that you're working with the enemy. So here's a pretty basic example. I'll use a situation that's happening right now currently, which is trending, by the way. So they're saying that there's underage kids who are being impregnated at these ICE detention facilities. This is just one example of something they clearly want everyone's focus on for the moment. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't a real thing or that it is a real thing. That's not what I'm saying. My point is that if you figure out that it is not real and you try and tell people about this, then you're going to come across as the enemy or unsympathetic, or like you're attempting to talk people away from the treachery that's taking place. You're going to come across as like you're supporting ICE. Because to most people who assume that all of this stuff truly is happening the way that they're presenting it to us, those people are going to see you as working for the enemy. Like you're trying to downplay what's happening. But no, of course that would be horrible if that was really happening. But if you have proof that it is not happening and you try and tell people that it's not happening, this is what's going to happen. This is how these psyops are designed. And it's like this for all of them. So that if you figure out the truth, then it's going to appear as if you're working for the enemy. This is a big part of why psyops and manipulation is so successful on the population.
Not to discredit, bro. Shout out to the content. But that was real service level right there. Obviously, if you're not communicating to somebody who has the open ears and is not like-minded, they're not going to understand you or agree with you or even want to hear what you have to say because they're not on that frequency yet. Everybody gets there at a different time, and it's not meant for everybody. Everybody is not going to make the journey. Everybody's not going to come along to the ascension ride. I believe saying that is almost like being a dead horse. You're talking on deaf ears. Like, obviously, these conversations aren't for everybody. That's why it's called esoteric knowledge, and we have to find certain communities like the global mafia to find like-minded people.
It's concerned, all the stuff that's been going on over there. And I talked to a friend that works for TSA. And things that they've been doing are super, super worrisome. Now, before you say, oh, Trump already talked to Iran and, everything's good, they're about to co-run the Strait of Hormuz, right? When the president said that, Iran's already over there. They said no deal, and they will continue to fight until they meet certain circumstances where they are defended for life. In New York City, of all places, where that plane just went down, They are completely taking away their safety protocols. They're not checking people's shoes no more. They're really bypassing all their safety measures to make sure that people on the plane are safe. I wonder why. Then, of course, this is a second government shutdown, right? Why are we really having these shutdowns? Is it really just because one politician? The first time they went a month or two without pay. And here they are with a shutdown again. And the employees don't give a crap no more. Because who wants to go to work for 2 months and not get paid? At the same time, we have ICE standing over these TSA workers. I mean, it seems like they're deliberately trying to make these people mad and not come back for some reason. At the same time, we have terror alerts all over the United States as well as in other countries. And if you think for some reason you'll know when stuff goes down, right now Iran is threatening to cut the undersea cables. If you're one of the people that think that all your internet comes from satellites, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. 99% of it comes from undersea cables.
LaGuardia Airport crashes into a fire truck that was on the runway. This same fire truck was heading to another plane on that same runway. Air traffic control is guiding this fire truck. And then the unthinkable happens. Mind you, someone has a premonition that something is going to happen at LaGuardia Airport. Look at this here. Please leave LaGuardia Airport. There is something bad coming. I don't know when. Then they go on to say, after this happened, they said, I warned you, LaGuardia Airport was in danger. If you did not believe I am a nation prophet called by God, do you believe me now? 72 passengers on board. Pilot and co-pilot lost their life. One pilot died from impact. Other pilot ejected out of the seat. Listen to this. He's talking to the fire truck. So air traffic control gives the command to stop. Truck keeps going. But who's guiding the plane? Now you see how they let that out? Why didn't they let out what was being said to the pilots? Something ain't right about all this. And again, all of that damage that happened, that was caused by a fire truck. Condolences to the pilots.
We'll never ever see a problem with asking questions and getting down to the bottom of things because we don't believe in coincidences. Talk to the Global Mafia members. If you made it this far, put Mafia member in the comments. We're going to keep going down these journeys. We're going to dissociate from that indoctrination the system tried to give us and get to this real knowledge and truths. What's really going on? It's a lot of distractions. So they making us look one way. We got to figure out what direction we really need to focus in. And we need to know everything, even the opposition's information, so we can see what's coming. Shout out to the OG Global Gang members. I over appreciate the support. Shout out to the new Global Mafia members. I drop one video a day at least, giving y'all the latest and the non-biased news. And I am Cash, capital K, $ for the S.
Had 3-car garage in my fortress. My swag is drippin', make these whores sick. This shit come effortless. Why you sweating, hoes tryna force it? This new Louis drip from this season. I pull up yoking, serving, doing hella shit in the latest Beamer. Plenty garbage bags full of LCGs. Nigga, please, I've been jumping flights since 2013. Moving boxes, making plays, I gotta fill these orders. Load them 18-wheelers up, then get them cross the border. Matter of fact, here go my runner right now. I got your ticket, take this bag, I'ma drop you off and then you out. We out.